Are there any heroes who rub you the wrong way? I'm your host Andrew Boyd, and today on Top 10 Nerd, we are taking another look at superheroes who aren't as powerful as they think they are. To be clear, most of these characters are extremely powerful, but their egos make them think that they are more capable than they are, often resulting in terrible situations that could have been avoided. With all that out of the way, let's start our countdown. Number 10, Batman. Now, in many ways, Batman has an accurate view of his powers. He knows that he has none. What he does have is a massive fortune, amazing martial arts skills, and a genius level intellect. Like many heroes with a genius level intellect, this has made him egotistical, often believing that he is the only one capable of facing certain threats. Now, to be fair, this is also part of a trauma response that makes him terrified of losing the people he cares about, because, well, you know, pearls in the alley. But it often results in him turning away help from characters like Robin, going after the villain himself, and then needing to get rescued by a member of the Bat family anyways. As if that wasn't enough, he has a sense of moral superiority that makes him incapable of fully trusting his teammates on the Justice League, creating contingency plans on how to defeat each of them should they ever stray from the side of good. This, of course, backfired when Ra's al Ghul got a hold of these plans in the Tower of Babel storyline and used them to almost kill the League. Now, to be clear, I'm not against the idea of having contingency plans for the Justice League members. I mean, just look at how often Superman falls under the influence of mind control. But if Batman had simply pitched the idea of contingency plans to the team, the League could have helped develop them so that any of them could use them in an emergency, as opposed to having to rely purely on Batman's discretion. Number 9, Professor X. Professor Charles Xavier has been the most consistent leader of the X-Men over the years, sporting a genius-level intellect in addition to extremely powerful telepathic powers. Unfortunately, he often conflates his power with the qualifications to make truly horrible decisions and then hand-wave them away as being for the greater good when anyone calls him out on them. Even before he was born, he was doing shady stuff like this. While he was in his mother's womb, he sensed that his would-be twin sister would be extremely powerful and decided she was too powerful to be allowed to be born and killed her in the womb. His powers have made him secretive and extremely manipulative, often simply erasing the memories of the X-Men when he does something that could impact their loyalty to him. A good example of this is in X-Men Deadly Genesis number 5, when he got a group of students killed, including Cyclops' brother, Vulcan, and erased the event from the team's minds. There's no denying that Xavier is a powerful mutant and a powerful genius, but he is not powerful or smart enough to justify playing God as often as he does. Number 8, Spider-Man. This is a different kind of entry on this list. Peter Parker learned early in life that with great power comes great responsibility, and he has tried to take that message to heart over the years, but he often takes this sentiment a bit too far. As I'm sure you know, Spider-Man has several powers such as super strength, spider sense, the ability to stick to walls, and he has web shooters that allow him to swing across the city of New York. He also has a massive amount of guilt. Sometimes this is understandable. It makes sense that he would feel bad after failing to save Gwen Stacy, for example. But he also has a tendency to feel guilty about things that he never could have prevented. Like when Daredevil's secret identity was revealed to the world and Peter was shown in his apartment racked with guilt, despite the fact that he was in no way involved. Something even he was able to recognize was ridiculous. Peter has a bad tendency to look at any bad situation and think that he should have done something to prevent it. Personally, I think the whole Uncle Ben thing was more traumatic than we ever really talk about, and left him with a bit of a complex. But Peter needs to realize that although he does have great power and therefore great responsibility, he is not all powerful, and therefore is not directly responsible for or capable of saving everyone from everything. Number 7, Quicksilver. Pietro Maximoff is the son of Magneto and the twin brother of Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch. His power is super speed, Although originally he was only capable of reaching a top speed of 175 miles per hour, his powers were later upgraded to give him near limitless speed, although this has fluctuated over the years, with him being depowered and repowered several times over the years. He is extremely arrogant, often getting on the nerves of the people around him, but what puts him on this list is the overconfidence to think that you are at all impressive when you are the weakest mutant in your family. Yes, he is fast, but his sister can reshape reality with a word. Stop bragging. Oh, you can run around real quick? Your dad is Magneto, sit down. Quicksilver isn't usually even written as the fastest mutant in the Marvel Universe. Shout out to North Star and Aurora. Yet, he is constantly talking crap and acting like he is the most impressive specimen to have ever walked the Earth. Number 6. Homelander. The result of Vought American's Compound V experiments, Homelander is a narcissistic psychopath with all the powers of Superman and is considered the most powerful man alive in the boys' universe. While he is the antagonist of the comic series, he is technically a superhero, even if in occupation only. Homelander is extremely powerful, but considers himself above humanity and thinks himself invincible, often using his powers to horrifically kill people who get in his way, annoy him, or even just happen to be at the wrong place at the wrong time when Homelander is bored. Though he may not have overestimated his powers by much, his lack of experience fighting anyone as powerful as him led to his brutal demise at the hand of his clone, Black Noir. I doubt he still considered himself invincible after Noir reduced him to nothing more than a torso with arms. Number 5. Raphael. Raphael of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is the hothead of the group. Wearing the red mask and wielding his twin sai, he is undeniably a fierce and skilled warrior. But let's be honest here. There's a reason Leonardo is the group's leader. In his earlier appearances, this was a source of rivalry between the two turtles, with Raph constantly questioning his brother's leadership and rebelling against him. This came to a head in the Return to New York storyline, when Raphael assumed leadership of the team, leading Donatello and Michelangelo against Shredder and his Foot Clan, not realizing he was leading his fellow turtles into a trap. Raph was almost killed by Shredder's elite guard, but was saved at the last moment by Leonardo. Leo went on to fight and decapitate the Shredder, and Raph finally had to admit that leading the team was harder than it looked. Although the two have butted heads in the time since, and Raph is still the cockiest of the turtles, he rarely questions Leonardo's leadership to the same extent. Number 4. Wolverine. Now, Wolverine has a lot of useful powers, like his sense of smell, his mutant healing factor, and his adamantium claws. But considering that he's been around for centuries and is an expert in several different fighting techniques, he sure gets his butt kicked a lot. He has at one point or another been beaten by Gambit, Captain America, Spider-Man, Black Panther, Hulk, Deadpool, and Daredevil. And that's just talking about the heroes who have whooped him. Now, Wolvie always manages to bounce back due to his healing factor, but that doesn't change the fact that he loses a lot of fights. And honestly, there's no shame in that. Lots of heroes lose fights at one point or another, but if you are getting the crap kicked out of you that consistently, maybe don't constantly talk about how you're the best there is at what you do. On a related note, if you have a skeleton made of metal, you only get to try and fight Magneto once before you just come across as an idiot. Number 3. Zan of the Wondertwins. We're starting to get into the heroes who are showing overconfidence just by being willing to leave the house, let alone join a superhero team. The Wondertwins are shapeshifters who are able to change their forms by fist bumping and saying Wonder Twin powers activate, and then announcing what they plan to turn into. Well, his sister Jaina has the awesome and useful ability to turn into any animal she wants, including alien or mythological creatures. Zan's powers are a little less versatile. Zan can transform into water. Sure, he can choose whether this water is in a solid, liquid, or gaseous form, but that's still not particularly useful. In fact, when Superman described the Wonder Twins' powers to Wonder Woman in Wonder Twins #1, she described the pair as underwhelming. Despite this, Zan operates with a strangely high sense of confidence, not really understanding that most people consider him a joke. He even brags about being an indispensable part of his high school hockey team, despite the fact that his only use is being the rink. Number 2. Sixpack. Sidney Speck is little more than a boastful drunk who claims to have fought both Bane and Doomsday. This fight was apparently cut short when the supervillains used their rarely seen bladder-disrupting powers to make Sixpack wake up in a pair of urine-soaked pants. The poster boy for delusions of grandeur, Sixpack went on to lead the superhero team Section 8, a team consisting mostly of useless and insane superheroes. During his time on the team, he never showed any affinity for superheroics other than managing to attack people with a broken beer bottle. In what might just be the twist of the century, when Section 8 went up against a team of demons, although most of his teammates were killed in the battle, he suddenly manifested reality-altering powers which allowed him to create a force field and protect himself. So although he is still a drunken slob, in the end he turned out to actually be more powerful than anyone thought. So I guess maybe he shouldn't be on this list. Well, at any rate, he's more useful than his teammate. Number 1, Friendly Fire. It takes a certain amount of confidence in your ability to decide to make the leap from civilian to costumed crime fighter. You either have to be extremely skilled and dedicated, like Batman, or have superpowers that allow you to do the extraordinary. Now, not every superpower is useful in combat. Looking at you, Cypher. But few heroes have abilities that make them more of a liability than a help. That's where Friendly Fire of Section 8 comes in. Friendly Fire has the power to shoot flaming energy beams from his hands, which you would think could be useful for a superhero. Unfortunately, he is incapable of hitting anything he is aiming at, more often than not hitting his teammates. Now, Friendly Fire is a character with seemingly very low confidence, but considering that he is incapable of helping his fellow team members, it would be of more help if he just stayed home. His decision to become a superhero in the first place earns him the top spot on this list. His career was brought to a tragic conclusion when he accidentally blew his own head off. Well, just like that, another list has come to an end. Any more heroes you think are less powerful than they think? Check out part 1 of this video and maybe you'll see them there. Your comments on part 1 were super helpful in putting this list together, so please keep the comments coming and remember to like and subscribe for more Top 10 Nerd.